Hey, beautiful star beings. This is Meagan Mermaid, and I was guided to come on live here to speak with you today about the 1111 portal. So, for those of you who are unfamiliar, today is November 11th, and 1111 has a lot of meanings. Oftentimes, when star beings start to wake up, it's one of those numbers that show up everywhere. I know that was the case for me in 2011, I started to see 1111 on everything. I would see it on the time, I would see it on license plates, I would be getting gas and I would be at gas pump number 11, or I would buy something at the store and it would be 1111. So it just kept coming to me. And the more that I started to research and dive into my spiritual journey, the more that I discovered that 1111 is sort of like the access point or the key code for a starseed awakening. And in fact, in the tarot, the card, the Four of Wands, has four pillars that actually look like the number 1111. So, November 11th is a stargate. We have many stargates or portals throughout the year where people can step into these opportunities, is a great way to say it, opportunities for various things. And so, November 11th is an opportunity to step into the vibration of manifestation. Now, let's go back a step. We are still in eclipse season. We just had a huge lunar eclipse last week in Taurus. And 2 weeks prior to that, we had a solar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio. So it's very likely that a lot of things have shifted in your life in the last few weeks. And maybe it's not even so much in your regular everyday life, but you just feel like something is different. Sometimes with eclipse energy, it can actually take several months to see the transformation that's taking place when we go through these shifts and these cycles. And with eclipses, especially lunar eclipses, we are being asked to look at all of our relationships and figure out what's in alignment and what's no longer working for us. So it's very likely that certain people or situations were actually eclipsed out of your life. But we're kind of in that space right now where certain things have been falling away, but maybe we don't really know where we're going next. Maybe you're getting a glimpse of it. But again, we're in a Mars retrograde. So everything is slowing down. And what I've experienced in this Mars retrograde specifically is that we feel like we're slowing down. The universe is slowing down, but we might not necessarily feel like we have less work or less obligations. So it's kind of like there's this energy of feeling tired or feeling fatigued or kind of going through the emotions. So I'm sure that we could all use a little bit of magic, a little bit of that boost of energy to kind of move us through this space of uncertainty. So 1111 can also be considered Lumerian New Year. So, for those of you that are unfamiliar with Lumeria, Lumeria was one of the original Earth experiments. That were three experiments that were happening kind of simultaneously because in quantum reality, everything is happening at once. But so it was Lumeria, Atlantis, and Egypt. So I've talked a lot about Egypt in my Karmic Partners playlist. So you can check that out if you're interested in what was going on there. But Lumeria and Atlantis, there was a lot of issues. There were some discrepancies that were happening. And ultimately, it led to the fall of Atlantis. And for many of us, especially if you're a starseed and you resonate and you feel like you're an old soul, then it's likely that you were there. You were a part of this fall of Atlantis. And for those of you that have read the Telos books by Aurelia Louise, oh my goodness, I always forget her last name. I want to say it's Jones, Aurelia Louise, but she has a series of books the Telos series. And after the fall of Atlantis, there were beings from Lemuria and Atlantis that sort of escaped this fall, and they brought the teachings, the scrolls, all of this information from Lemuria inside of Mount Shasta, which is located in California and is also considered the root chakra of the earth. So there is this inner city called Telos where these Lemurian beings are still there today. Now they're very high vibrational. So, we're not necessarily going to see them because they exist on this other plane of existence, but they are here with us and they can support us and guide us. And so, the reason I'm bringing all of this up is because, and excuse me, I am just having like one of those human things where my nose is running. So I'm just gonna continue on and just apologize for my human right now. But anyway, so Lumeria was this really beautiful, beautiful place where all of our psychic and spiritual gifts were activated, where we were fully realized in our self, and everyone was living to their highest potential. So imagine being in this heart-centered space where you were living your ultimate reality and then losing it all. And so Lumeria was all about being in the heart, and Atlantis was this hub of technology. And eventually what was happening is that the exploration of technology and logic and all of these, I would just say, experiments were happening in Atlantis. And, there were many, many people that were saying, this is not a good idea. You are going against the natural order of things. And ultimately, there were groups of beings that were not listening, and pretty much they blew everything up and we had to start all over. It's happened several times in human in human history. And every time that it happens, it's like there's this expansion of consciousness, and then it's like the density goes down again and we sort of have to start over. So if you identify, excuse me, freaking knows, right? Like it was fine until I go live. But hopefully you can forgive my humanity. But anyway, so if you identify or you feel connected to Lumeria, it's very likely that you carry this core wound within you of feeling like you've had like this beautiful time, this beautiful space, and then losing it. So, how many of us carry this wound where it feels like something good is happening and you have this fear that like the rug is going to be pulled out from under you, or just always this fear that the other shoe will drop? Oftentimes, what this is connecting us to is this core wound or memory that needs to be integrated. And so, what was really beautiful is that a lot of souls, at the time that they knew that there was no going back, there was no saving Atlantis. So, the way that certain beings got together and decided to support this cataclysmic event or prepare for it was to use the vibration of sound. And sound frequencies are ultimately what create the entire universe and how we can move out of lower vibrational states. So there were all of these beings in the waters all around Atlantis that were singing as Atlantis was falling, as everything kind of like went into shambles. So if you're watching this or if you're drawn to this, it's very likely that you were one of those beings and you were singing. And the ones that were singing were mermaids, these galactic mermaids that were embodied in these Lemurian bodies. And the reason for the singing was because they knew that even though they couldn't stop this event from happening, they knew that the sound vibrations and the frequencies would support the healing of all of the beings that would have to go through this. Now, with any event, no matter how traumatic, we don't necessarily have to re experience the memory, but we have to witness the emotions that arise with it. So it's this being being the observer, being the compassionate witness to those things that allow us to heal it. So, consciousness and awareness really just needs to be witnessed. It needs to be witnessed in its light, in its shadow, in its darkness, and it needs to be accepted. And the acceptance is the piece of integration that brings it all together. So, I was guided today to walk us through a meditation where we would witness and observe those final moments of Atlantis, and that we would call back those soul fragments from our particular wounding, from our particular memory and our awareness, so that we don't have to keep repeating it. Now, what I mean by that is that when we experience a situation on this earth plane, we create karma. And karma is neither good nor bad. It's simply a reaction. But because we live in a universe that is governed by the law of attraction and other orders, then oftentimes we're going to keep attracting the same types of situations, fortunately or unfortunately, until we learn the lesson. So if you feel like you've been on this spiritual path and like you'll get to a certain point and then all of a sudden it's like something happens, or you just feel like you get stuck in chaos and you can't move forward, or it's one thing after another, uh, it's because there's this aspect of you that continues to create this cycle of chaos so that you can witness it, acknowledge it, call back those fragments, and step deeper into a space of 0 point. 0 point being when all of our parallel realities, all of our lifetimes, all of the yous that you've been in all of these aspects of space and time, both on the earth plane and various star nations, all come back to this moment now. Okay. This is the eternal now that we are in this moment, and this moment, and this moment. So before we go into this channeled space, I wanted to pull a couple cards today because today is a really magical day. It's a time where we can step into a higher vibration of manifesting and calling in the things that we want. So I'm going to be using my deck, the Mermaid Empowerment Oracle deck, and I'm also going to be pulling from the Rider-Waite Tarot deck. So again, my nose, I'm so sorry. I don't know if anyone else is experiencing this, where it's just like the change in weather is like affecting your body in various ways. And like having your nose run is just like one of the most like annoying human things that we have to deal with. So, okay. But I'm just that way. I'm very real, maybe too honest. All right. So the first card that we have from my deck, the Mermaid Empowerment Oracle deck, is worthiness. And the mermaid empowerment that goes along with it is I'm worthy and deserving of my dreams. So if you want to manifest something, if you want to call something into being, if you want to materialize something into the third dimension, you've got to feel like you're worthy to receive it. You can do all your affirmations, you can make vision boards, you can anything. You can go all day long just saying, I want this, I want that. But if you don't feel it, if you can't get into that vibration of worth, it's never going to happen because you're not a match for it. And oftentimes we get to this space where we'll manifest something good into our lives, but we still have that core wound of unworthiness. And then we'll do something to sabotage it, or like it seems like it slips away. Okay. So, why would we feel unworthy? Well, if we're relating it to this memory in our conscious awareness of having to witness this cataclysmic event where our loved ones, everything that we worked for, like all disappeared within moments, you'd probably feel pretty bad, right? You'd probably wish, like, well, maybe I could have done something different. And, you know, we're all healing and clearing karma for the collective. So basically, you are either clearing and healing as a keeper of the masculine flame or a keeper of the feminine flame. And so, regardless of what gender you identify with, it's very rare that a being is equal parts of both. You're gonna be more of one polarity than another. That's just how it works in this human game. So, this worthiness aspect, the way that it plays out is that we'll attract things to us that we want, but then we'll feel like we're not good enough and we'll push it away. Or we'll start to blame other people or blame our situations, blame things outside of us, because really that core wound is that you don't feel that you're worthy enough. But the good news is that you're not the only one. We're all clearing the same thing for the entire collective. Okay. So anytime that someone or something tells you that you're the only one that's experiencing this, and oftentimes it's our own mind, it's our own thoughts, excuse me. Sorry. um, but that we really just have to look at that and recognize you are a star being in a human form, right? But what's inside of you is God consciousness. What's outside of you is God consciousness. Everything is God, everything is light, everything is dark. So anytime that you feel like darkness or shadow is outside of you, you are rejecting a part of yourself, which actually makes you vulnerable to psychic attacks and different experiences where you're not fully claiming your wholeness. So you're made vulnerable to outside energies kind of taking advantage of that. So, the first step that we need to recognize in order to move out of this space of self sabotaging or keeping this core wound of feeling like we didn't do enough or it's our fault in some way, which it's not. Consciousness from the beginning of time, let's take a step back and let's talk about how this whole game of humanity started, right? Or even before that. How did source energy get started, right? There had to be a point in time where source wanted to know itself, right? And it asked the question, what am I? And from that space, created an other, a duality, right? Because in order to understand who you are, you have to have something outside of you to tell you, so that there's some type of a comparison, some type of a difference. Hi, Leah. Good to see you. Welcome. So then from these two polarities, created more fractals and more fractals and more fractals of consciousness. And because we live in a free will universe, we have the opportunity to learn through fear and suffering or to learn through love. And so humanity for a long time has chosen to learn through suffering. So that's why you're here as a star seed. You came to shift the equation, to shift the game. But in order to do that, you've got to trust that you're worthy. So, how do you get back into a space of feeling worthy? Well, instead of identifying as this little powerless human in this big world that could be against you in some way, you recognize that you're a wave in the ocean of consciousness, right? And so all of the qualities of the ocean of consciousness, of God, source, whatever you want to call it, are also within you. So there's literally no way that you couldn't be worthy because you are God. Your God is Meagan Mermaid, or God is Leah Lyons, or God is whoever your particular avatar is. You are God. And anytime that you feel that you're separate from source, that's when that fear and that insecurity and that unworthiness sets in. So, curiosity is the next card from the Mermaid Empowerment deck. So, once we discover that what's blocking us is unworthiness, what's blocking us from receiving the magic of this 1111 portal is feeling in some way that we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, or pretty enough, or successful enough, or prepared enough, or whatever it is. We haven't taken enough classes. Who knows? There's so many ways that our ego can get in the way and make us feel like we're unworthy. So that's why we have to step into curiosity. And that's what the next Mermaid Empowerment card is saying. So the affirmation for this card, curiosity, is I explore my world with curiosity. Now, oftentimes it's not going to be easy to figure out what your limiting beliefs are because they're really, really deeply rooted, right? Just like this Lumerian Atlantis wound that we all have, especially if you've been drawn to this talk today. So, the way that you can start figuring out what your limiting beliefs are that are connected to worthiness and unworthiness, especially, is to start to put on those detective glasses and look at what's happening in your day-to-day life. At the end of the day, if you were to look back at everything that happened from the time that you woke up to the minute that you went to bed, ask yourself, what would a person have to believe about life, about themselves, about others to be attracting this experience or this experience? Or if you get into a conflict with someone or if someone triggers you, get curious about it. Everything is data. So ask yourself, that person really triggered me. I wonder why. Why would I have to believe? What would I have to believe to be so triggered? Or what would I not be believing about myself? So, this is where that aspect of curiosity replaces fear. Because when we get curious, we're empowered because we're looking for data and we're in a space of being able to make the changes that are necessary. So, I'm going to pull one more card from the Mermaid Empowerment deck and a tarot card, and then we're going to go into this guided meditation very quickly. So, okay, once we move out of curiosity, the next step is bliss. And so the Mermaids of Sirius teach about mermaid consciousness, which is bliss consciousness. And the empowerment for this card is I embody the bliss of my soul's true purpose. So basically, bliss is the gift of self mastery. Oh, nice, Marlon! Wow, I'm so glad that you experienced that synchronicity. And I'm sorry, you guys, my nose is just running. My human is like having all sorts of malfunctions today. So it is what it is. In leadership, we just have to show up where we're at. And like that just gives other people the opportunity to know there's no excuses. No excuses. Your nose is running, you get a tissue, and you just keep going. So bliss is, as I talked about, the gift of self mastery, where when you're working on your mindset, when you're getting curious, you step into a space of empowerment, then that self mastery, all the work that you're doing, creates this feeling of bliss. And bliss is not necessarily happiness. We as humans are gonna feel all sorts of emotions, right? Sometimes we're gonna feel joyful, sometimes we're gonna feel really, really excited, sometimes we're gonna feel like shit, sometimes we're gonna be like, damn, like I don't even know how I could make it through today. And the really beautiful thing is that our emotions are our ticket to freedom, our ticket to liberation. But bliss is something that you can experience regardless of the emotion that you're having. So you can be sad and still have bliss. You can be uh, grieving and still be in bliss, because bliss is knowing that your mind, body, and spirit are in full alignment with your individual mission and your collective mission. So, what is the individual and collective mission of a starseed? The collective mission is you with your galactic soul signature, your particular light, and the flavor that you bring from your star nation or star nations that is helping to shift and activate the grid. So there is a light grid across this planet. And the light grid is run by electricity. And so that's how the dark agendas will infiltrate things, is through electricity. So basically, you have your own light. You have this specific flavor, this specific energy that you brought here as a star seed. So literally, you just being in your chair in this moment, in your particular space on Earth, is clearing and helping to alleviate the imbalances of this grid. So that's the collective mission. And that's often why starseeds feel lonely, is because in order to balance out the grid, we've all kind of been spread out across the globe. And that's why it's so beautiful to have technologies like YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, because we can still connect, right? We have this technology now where we recognize we're not alone. We're not the only ones doing this. And then your individual mission is what lights you up, what brings you bliss, what is your heart asking you to do? What would you do if money wasn't a thing or time wasn't an issue and you could just do what you love? And maybe you don't even know yet. Maybe you haven't even had an opportunity to think about that because you've been in survival mode. That's okay. This is what we're moving towards. We're embodying the bliss of our soul's true purpose, to be a light and to light up others and show them that there's this other option that, hey, yeah, we've learned a lot in this human experiment through suffering, and that was cool. We got what we needed to, but now, like, why don't we try something different? Why don't we try doing it through love and through joy and through fun? And that's what the mermaids teach, that we can step into ascension through bliss, through actually bringing in the highest vibration of joy into every moment. So I'm going to pull one tarot card for today before we go into the channeled space. And we have the Page of Swords. So pages in the tarot are always like a message. They're a messenger, and swords are our mind. So I feel like with the Page of Swords, we're getting a message of what needs to change. And what I'm feeling for this is we need to get curious about what needs to change in our thinking related to worthiness. Where are you believing lies about yourself, that you're not enough, or what you have to offer is not enough? Because this is just a false premise of the ego to keep us in fear and to keep us from the bliss of embodying our true purpose. So, we're going to step into a channeled space where we're going to go back into this memory right when there was this cataclysmic event with the fall of Atlantis. And you could have been there singing and being a part of it. Or maybe you were a part of the death. You were a part of, like, maybe you lost your life in that moment, even though we know death is not real, and we just end up somewhere else. Energy never dies, but the memory is still what's carried within our body and our awareness. So today we're going to help to clear that memory through the power of compassionate witnessing. So we're going to practice what is called bilocation. So your physical form is going to be exactly where you're at right now, but your etheric body is going to step into a higher dimensional plane where we're going to go into this memory and witness with the eyes of compassionate awareness what happened. And through that compassionate witnessing, we can call back those soul fragments of our particular self that may have been lost and that continues to repeat this pattern of unworthiness or guilt or shame or whatever it is. And because we're in this powerful space of the 1111 portal, this practice will support you in stepping into higher levels of magnetism for those things that you want to manifest. And not only manifest them, but keep them and not self sabotage them because there's still that underlying core wound of unworthiness. Now, if you're watching this and it's not 1111, please know that this portal is timeless. And so, whenever you're watching this, whenever you've been drawn to this video, in quantum reality, your consciousness and your awareness is here with us in this moment, and you'll get exactly what you need. So, time is really just a learning device. We don't need to focus so much on it, especially when it comes to practices like this. So, if you want to participate, all you have to do is just close your eyes and just start to breathe. Taking a deep breath in, exhaling it out. Taking a deep breath in, exhaling it out. Continuing to breathe, imagining that your breath is like the ocean tide, rushing in and out, in and out. Now I want you to imagine that this beautiful, bright white light directly from source consciousness begins to flow like a beautiful waterfall. And it begins to flow down through your crown chakra, through your third eye, your throat, your heart, your solar plexus, your sacral chakra, your root chakra, all the way down through your feet. And this beautiful bright light begins to flow upwards, back through your chakra system, out through your crown, and creates a bubble of white light around you. And as you continue to breathe, this bubble of white light begins to shift and change into pinks and purples and blues and greens. And we are now being sealed with the rainbow light energy of Sirius that will support us in our travels today. Now, I also want you to imagine that at the base of your spine is a ruby red grounding cord. And at the end of this cord is a red brick. And on the count of 3, we're going to throw this brick, and it's going to fall down, down, down to the core of the center of the earth. There's a beautiful crystal at the core of the center of the earth that it is going to attach to. 1, 2, 3. And it begins to fall down, 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 and wraps really neatly and tightly around the core of the center of the earth. And so we're now calling in my High Council, the High Council of Sirian Elders, as well as the Galactic Federation of Light, including Commander Ashtar and the representatives of the Arcturian, the Andromedan, the Avian, the Lyran, the Pleiadian, the Sirian, the Orion, and the Mintonkan star nations. We welcome in Saint Germain and Lady Portia to our left, Sanat Kumara and Lady Venus to our right. Behind us, we welcome in our host today, Adama, the High Priest of Telos, and all of our Telosian brothers and sisters, bringing in the energy of Lumeria on this powerful Lumerian portal. And we welcome in Hathor and the Hathor Star Nations. We welcome in Hilarion and Paul the Venetian. And feel free to also invite in any spirit guides or star family or angels that you work with, even spirit animals or animal guides that would allow you to feel supported in this space. And so we now consecrate this space for only the highest vibrations of love, truth, healing, and peace. And we choose now to align with the highest frequency of love, the highest good of all, and the highest timeline for all. And now as this space is open, my etheric body is going to step out of my body. And in quantum reality, we can be in many, many places all at once. So I am going to step into the room with you, and I'm going to pull your etheric body out of your body. And the etheric body looks very much like the regular body, except it is completely translucent and transparent and has a consistency much like water. You can think of it as light water. And so now, as I take your hand, above us, a stargate begins to appear above our head, 6 feet in diameter, whirling and whizzing in lapis blue and golden light. And you may begin to feel a magnetic energy as we are taken up, 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 across dimensional frequencies and realities, up, across stars, planets, and galaxies, up, and the elevator doors open. And we step into the beautiful inner city in Mount Shasta, known as Telos. And Adama, the high priest, is greeting us today. And he's asking us to walk across this beautiful courtyard. And so you may begin to see beautiful birds and butterflies and even fairies and all sorts of really cute bunnies and animals around us. And there's all sorts of greenery. And the sky above us is very blue. And I just want you to take a moment to attune to the frequencies of this higher dimensional plane. And you may begin to feel that energy is being drained out of your body. And just allow this to happen and know that it's happening naturally and organically. And there's nothing that you need to do and nothing that you need to fix. And that you're perfectly safe to continue this journey with us. And so we begin to walk through this courtyard, out through this meadow, and we sit in this little grassy area, and there's a stream that's running next to us to our right. And Adama is stepping forward, and Adama is very tall. He's maybe about 9 foot tall, and his skin is very translucent. It's almost clear and has like a rainbow aura essence to it. It's glittering, and in the sunlight, there's this luminescent frequency that emits from his skin. He's got this shoulder length long blonde hair and these crystal blue eyes. And he's wearing this light blue robe, and he's holding this staff that looks very much like the hermit staff in the tarot. And he's filled with this very, very ancient wisdom, but he has this very childlike quality to him and this very powerful divine masculine energy that allows you to feel safe and protected and vulnerable at the same time. He's sort of like an inner parent, a father figure, if we allow him to be. And he's holding these Lumerian quartz crystals in his hand, and he's passing them out to each of us. And he's asking that we look upon these crystals. And so, crystals are one way that light or information is stored. So, as a human, we only have the capacity to hold a certain amount of light within us. And if we were to hold more, we would actually, our form could not hold it and we would actually break apart. And that's why there are accounts, such as in the sacred text of the Bible, where there's the Ark of the Covenant, and someone would try to touch that and they would be disintegrated. It's the very same way where, as a form of God consciousness in this human form, we're only able to hold and access so much information or light at once. So, crystals were a way that information could be stored and received and transmitted in a very easy way to send and keep and hold this information. And that's why in the fall of Atlantis in Lemuria, most of the information was recorded and stored within crystals that are now being kept in the halls of Telos. And so we are all holding here a piece of information from the cataclysmic event of Atlantis and Lemuria and the fall of Atlantis. And so Adama is now stepping forward and he's sharing that he's so grateful that you have chosen to come here today and that he wants you to know that it is safe to be powerful and that you are a very old soul. There is a reason why you are drawn to this particular transmission. There is a reason that you are here today on this powerful portal of 1111. And he wants you to know that it's time to stop diminishing your power. He wants you to know that you have chosen a very complicated mission as a starseed, and that a part of that was clearing and neutralizing karma for your ancestry, for your lineage, for those that were not able or awakened enough to do this work yet for themselves. You are a lighthouse in a world that is deeply hungering for light. He wants you to know that if you have experienced difficulties, trauma, especially in your early years, if you have experienced disappointments or setbacks or failures, it is not because you are not enough. It is not because you are not worthy. It is because you were powerful enough to transmit and alchemize these situations in order to return back to a state of homeostasis or light. So now, what he is asking you to do is to hold this crystal in your hand and to step into the awareness of your heart. So breathe for a moment. You might even want to place your hands upon your heart and just feel all of the power that lies within this heart center. And sit and observe and ask yourself if you've allowed yourself to use this power. Or have you cut yourself off from your emotions? Have you been fearful of feeling your emotions? Have you been worried that if you allowed yourself to go deep within your heart, that it would lead you to poor decision making or that it would create risky situations? Oftentimes, the human is very careful of stepping into the power of their heart space. But in truth, it is only our heart that can liberate us and lead us to freedom, especially in the matrix of form that we are all waking up out of. So now Adama is asking that you step into your heart space and you breathe in the energy of compassion. So you may begin to feel this cool breeze that is beginning to surround us and to surround you. And the swirling breeze is filled with this rose quartz pink energy. And this energy of compassion dive straight into your heart space. And you may even begin to feel a tingling sensation or a warmth around your heart space. So there is this beautiful energy of compassion that is surrounding you now and is supporting you to witness what needs to be witnessed. So continue to hold this crystal in your hand, and Adama is pointing to a screen that begins to materialize. It's almost like we're watching a movie screen, but it is materializing in thin air. So there's nothing behind it, there's nothing around it, it's floating. And as you begin to look at this screen, we begin to see images. You may begin to see images of fire or explosions. You may begin to feel or sense the energy of turbulent water. You may begin to hear sounds. And please note that we are going to expand out from a space where we don't have to actually see or witness firsthand what is happening. We don't need to re traumatize ourselves. But as you hold this crystal and you hold the energy of compassion, feel whatever is arising in your body. Perhaps there's a remembrance or a recollection. There may be information or visions that are coming to you in this moment. Where were you in this moment? Were you in the water? Were you singing? Were you a part of the chaos? What was happening? How can you allow yourself to be in this space without judgment? So continue to watch on this screen as different scenes begin to play out, and it's happening very, very quickly in a fashion that is almost too quick for our human eye to understand. But through the power of compassionate witnessing, we are simply observing and allowing whatever is happening to arise in this moment. So we're just going to continue to breathe in the energy of compassion and hold these crystals. And as we continue to finalize this portion of the transmission and witness whatever else is asking to be witnessed in this space, we are going to step back into our heart space as we hold this crystal and begin to imagine that this white light from your heart space begins to emanate and begins to pour from your heart space into this screen. So we are all simultaneously sending love and compassionate awareness into this memory of human consciousness. Continue to breathe and allow this to unfold easily and effortlessly. There is nothing that you need to do other than to focus on this moment. And now I want you to just take a moment to see or sense if there are any particles or electrons. It might even feel like little bubbles that are starting to materialize around you. And what these little bubbles represent is aspects or fragments of your soul that were fragmented off because of the high degree of trauma from this particular cataclysmic event. So witness and observe and allow these bubbles to materialize around you. And as you breathe in, just allow these bubbles to be magnetized into your auric field. There may be one, there may be several. Just continue to breathe and know that this is happening perfectly and effortlessly. And there's nothing that you need to do other than to breathe and allow for what is happening to arise in the field. And as you continue to breathe and allow this soul reunification to happen, there might be emotions that you feel. Perhaps you may feel teary. Perhaps you might feel a heaviness that is arising for you. Whatever is arising, just allow it to be and continue to breathe and know that you're in a space of pure and unconditional love. So the screen begins to dematerialize, and whatever fragments have been around you, I'm hearing, have now been integrated. And so Adama is now stepping back towards us, and he is sharing that the soul work that we have done today is complete. And so now we have members of the High Council of Syrian Elders stepping forward, as well as the Mermaids of Sirius in the streams of water around us. So you might feel this beautiful galactic mermaid energy that is surrounding you and supporting you. You might feel the energy of bliss. And the High Council of Syrian Elders are stepping forward as just these beautiful blue pillars of light. They're very tall, they're probably about 12 foot tall. And within these pillars of blue light, you may begin to see or feel this electric energy that is being emitted from them. And these two high councils are speaking in one unified voice today. And what they would like for you to know is that because of your willingness to call back these memories and to witness the unforgivable, to witness the moment where we descended in density and in vibration, uh, you have done so in a space of unconditional love. And what you have learned here is a practice of shadow integration, which you are welcome to do with the memories from this incarnational cycle, as well as other parallel lifetimes that may reveal themselves to you in divine timing. They're saying that because of your courage and your willingness to step into this work, that you have opened the 1111 portal and you may begin to feel this beautiful swirling gold energy, almost like raindrops that are beginning to pour down. And this is the energy of abundance, the energy of vitality, the energy of health, the energy of joyful relationships, the energy of close friendships and security and stability. And what you're being rewarded with today is this vibration, this energy, this secret of Lumeria that is being held within your heart space and is safe to be released in your own life and in the lives of others. And so they're just finally giving us some last blessings and some beautiful words. And they're saying that you're welcome to return to this space in dream time or in meditation, and that you are welcome here, that you are all citizens of Telos, and you are citizens and key holders of the energy of Lumeria. And because of this, you must remember your worthiness. You must step into the bliss of your soul's true purpose and courageously activate your galactic soul signature and know that it is safe to do so. And that these beings are your guides and your allies in this powerful work that you are doing as a starseed here on Earth. And so we thank all of our beautiful guides. We thank Adama, and we thank the High Council of Syrian Elders, as well as the Mermaids of Sirius. And the Stargate begins to appear above our head. And we are taken up, up, up across dimensional frequencies and realities, up across stars, planets, and galaxies, up. And the elevator doors open, and we step back into the room that we're seated in. And your etheric body steps back into your body, and my etheric body steps back into mine. And when you are ready, simply open your eyes. You may want to wiggle your fingers and toes and step back into this space. And welcome back, everyone. And thank you so much for those that were watching here on live as well as the replay. And if you did participate in this particular transmission, please know that it takes time for your body to catch up with your consciousness. So you're going to want to make sure that you're really gentle with yourself. Drink lots of water, eat grounding foods, spend time in nature. And if it's possible to put anything off tonight, give yourself the gift of self-care. You did a lot of powerful work in this very high vibrational space. So it is important to give yourself integration time and space. Oh, and Marlon's saying that was really great. Thank you. Yay. Thank you everyone for being here live. And this is just the first of many guided journeys and moments with the mermaids. So I wish you all a beautiful and magical 1111. Know that you're worthy and it is safe to receive the bliss of embodying your soul's true purpose. So if you're interested in learning more, if you're not already on my mailing list, you can go to my website at meaganmermaid.com and you can sign up for the mailing list and you'll get a free guided meditation where you can meet with the Mermaids of Sirius. Thank you, Richard. Thank you for being here, and receive a gift for every chakra. area. I also have replays of my Starseed activations. I've done many with all of the different star nations, and those replays are available on my website under the activations tab. And you can also book a galactic channeled reading with me. So if you want to connect with your star family and do something similar to what we did today, but that is focused solely on you and your unique purpose and what you need to know, I will be happy to support you. Oh, thank you, Kahona. Thank you all so much for being here live. I really felt the energy. And you know what? It's just, it's so powerful when we all come into this space together and we recognize how powerful and worthy we are. So I'm wishing you all a beautiful 11/11. Have a great day, and I will see you very soon. I believe in you and I love you.